Alright, so you want to grow amaranth, and you want it to come out good. Amaranth is one of the more difficult crops to grow, but I have pretty much nailed the process down. I no longer have problems with dampen off, or I should say, I almost never have problems with the dampen off. You're still going to get it here and there, but follow this process, tweak it if you want, but I'm about to show you how I do it. I'm going to break down how many grams it takes per flat, also how much that costs, how much money you can make off a pound of amaranth seed. This will be somewhat similar to my Microgreens, a profitable crop video that I made, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. And if you got questions about things like packaging and whatever, I cover the costs in that video. I'm not going to do that in this video. But I will tell you how much it costs for the seed, how much it costs for the soil, and how many trays you can expect to get out of a pound of seed. And I'll give you all those numbers, and I'll try to put them up on the screen as well. And I'm not going to show you the chicken scratch, I'm just going to read off it. But I'll show you what I did, okay? So follow along. Hopefully you'll learn something from this, and hopefully I can help you out. I'd really like to help you. So let's get going. Alright, let's get started here. Now what I'm about to show you is a method I've been doing, but this with certain trays that I'm using. I got these fish trays. A restaurant that I serve gets their seafood in these trays, and they clean them up and they give them to me for free, which is awesome. I've been using these trays for everything, but it's not the only thing I'm using. You know, I also still use these regular 10-20 flats. So for this video, if you're just starting out, ignore the fact that I'm not underwatering, okay? I'm recommending that anybody watching this use 2 trays, one with holes, one without. I've got this pretty much down where what I'm doing when I water these, I'm literally taking them over to my faucet and I'm watering straight in the corners, so I'm not really overwatering, it's still kind of underwatering. But that's a tip if you guys have a tray like this you want to use on a delicate microgreen, is just water into the corners and let the water run under. So what I have is Sunshine Mix number 4 is my soil, and I've been running that through a screen, and I make it really nice and fine, really fluffy. That's one of the absolute keys to growing amaranth, is you want a nice fluffy soil. You don't want anything that's going to hold water in any one area for very long. You want the water always evaporating, okay? So what I use, I put my soil in here. This is about inch deep, inch and a quarter deep or so in there. You can go deeper. I try to go as cheap as I can. And what you want to do is water it really heavily. Like, get that soil just absolutely soaked. Then, after it's wet, I use my trusty tablespoon. On a 10-by-20 flat, I use 1 tablespoon per flat. On these, they're slightly smaller. I use a little bit less, but I'm not even going to weigh that out and tell you what that is. But let's jump into this now, I guess. So the seed that you're going to use in a 10-by-20 flat is 13 grams worth for a tablespoon. That 13 grams turns out to be, there's a pound is 454 grams. So that means you can grow 35 flats out of a pound of amaranth seed. And that 35 flats, if you're going to sell that at $20 a flat, which is what I get out of my flats, that's assuming you're getting 4 ounces out of a flat. That might be slightly high. I typically do get 4 ounces out of a flat, but sometimes it's 3. So this is an optimistic number, so just take that for what it's worth. So that's $700 worth of microgreens you can grow out of a pound of amaranth seed. So per tray, if you're going with organic seed, that means you're spending $1.55 per tray on seed. If you go with their conventional seed, and these numbers are all coming from from True Leaf Market, and I'll put my affiliate link in the description if you're curious. But if you're going with non-organic seed, that seed's going to cost you $1 per tray. So organic is 50% more money. And some of you may hate me for this and cringe. I'm using the non-organic. I'm using the seed that's $35.79 per pound versus organic seed that's $54.50 per pound. I'm not going to get into that with you guys on a debate, but I'm letting you know the truth. I typically do use organic where it makes sense, but if it does not make sense monetarily for me and I'm not organically certified, I'm going to go with what works and it's inexpensive. So what this means is that I figure $1 per tray in soil, and that's a really safe number there. And you don't have to use the soil I use. Just use something really fluffy. There's a lot of cocoa coir, a lot of perlite in this soil. Use something fluffy. It doesn't have to be mine. But the soil is about $1 per tray. And so if you figure that out, if you go with organic, that $700 worth of product you can get from a pound turns into, that's going to cost you $89.50 in soil and seed. Not the packaging, not lighting, whatever, all that. You have to figure that out yourself. If you go with the non-organic route, it's $70.79 for your soil and seed to sell that at $700 worth of stuff. Hopefully this is all making sense to you guys. So anyways, that's a little bit of the numbers behind it. You probably, I don't know if you cared about that or not, but probably getting bored of looking at the same tray though, I bet you that. So, what I do is I take a lid, I have a lid for this, and I'll just cover it, and I'll actually almost snap it tight on here, but I let a little bit of air out. Not a ton, but I haven't actually covered it, sealed it to see how it would do, but they're kind of hard to snap on anyway, so I just let it sit there. I spread my seed on my really wet soil with my tablespoon, and my goal is to keep my seed as evenly distributed as possible. You don't want any clumps, alright? Nice and even. Even this area right here, that's a little bit heavier than I would like. That could potentially cause dampen off. It's not going to in my scenario, but that's what you want to avoid, okay? So, I will use this tray to stack on top of seeds that require stacking, which is almost everything else. Amaranth I haven't ever stacked. I've never tried it. I'm not sure how it would do. If you have tried it, let me know what you think. But I use it as a top-off tray because you have to cover your top tray with something anyway, so why not just a seed that you're not going to stack? So, let's move on. I cover that with a tray. I'll leave it there for about 4 or 5 days. Then I'll get this. This was just uncovered about half an hour ago. The only way you're going to get nice length out of your amaranth is to leave it covered. As soon as you introduce this stuff to light, it seems like it does not grow much taller after that. You'll get bigger leaves as time goes on, and you may even get lucky enough to start getting second leaves, but for the most part, you're not going to get a whole lot more length. So get your length while it's covered, okay? Interesting fact you guys might think is kind of interesting. As I'm recording this video, I'm getting notifications on my YouTube channel of people asking to do a video on amaranth. So hopefully you guys find this helpful. Okay, so that's been about 4 to 5 days. Then I end up with this. Now this is, I think, probably close to 2 weeks from seed, okay? Hopefully you guys are getting a good look at that. And so the trick to growing amaranth and having it do really well is, number one, soil has to be light and fluffy. Number two, even seed distribution. Don't try to overseed it. Don't try to put it on too heavy. Number three would be leaving it covered long enough to get good length on your product, because otherwise you're not going to get that length. And the fourth one, good airflow. Okay, you want really good airflow, I actually have a combination of really good airflow, plus I run a dehumidifier, and that dehumidifier is my absolute lifesaver when it comes to microgreens. Since I've been running my dehumidifier, I never have dampen off trouble anymore. So you can see, like, look how full that is. There's no dampen off on that. Looks great. So I hope that this answered all your questions. I hope you guys found this helpful, and that from here you'll be able to start growing some of your own amaranth. If I left something out, I'm sorry. When I make these videos, I totally wing it. I set this up with trying to show a progression, but other than that, and getting the numbers for you guys, I totally just kind of wing these videos. So I hope that I don't sound like a babbling idiot to you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and upload this now. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're going to go to True Leaf Valley Market anyways to buy seed, I'd appreciate it if you use my link that's in my description. Yeah, thanks guys.